Hey guys, welcome back. We have a midweek energy update to get into, and we got some strange things going on as we move through our midpoint this week, you guys. It may just be like a very unusual couple of days. You may find yourself feeling like kind of, on one hand, like jittery and maybe like anxious or nervous, or like your mind is running really fast, and on the other hand maybe like very disconnected from reality and caught up in some like ideal or fantasy or daydream. We've got a interesting fusion of Neptune, Uranus, and Mercury energy with like a splash of black moon on the side going on here. Now I do think that there's something to do with like hidden things that have been veiled, things that have been obscured, things that have been like unclear for some reason, maybe suddenly making sense, suddenly coming into focus, maybe in some very startling or disturbing ways. You could be finding out some like dark secrets, or you could be seeing somebody's dark side, or you could feel compelled to just like do things in a very different way than you normally do, or things may just be proceeding strangely. You might have some like stuff going on specifically on Wednesday that you don't normally. We've got a Mercury Uranus exact opposition that is taking place, but it also happens to be exactly conjunct and opposite the black moon. Mercury and the black moon are conjunct in Scorpio, exactly opposite Uranus in Taurus. And then we have Neptune stationing direct on the same day, and Neptune of course is this very like otherworldly influence, and it does have to do with the dream and the illusion and the fantasy. So I don't know, there could be some illusions being like cracked through here somehow. You could feel like you're waking up maybe from some type of dream that you've been in for a long period of time. There could be clarity, like connecting dots, like things suddenly making sense, like crimes and mysteries being solved and stuff like that. Or again, it just may be a strange feeling day. Your focus could be on things that it's not normally on. Now, as we move into Thursday, this detachment from reality vibe, I think, is going to continue to grow. We will have Neptune direct, and Mercury then moves on and forms the exact trine to Neptune. And of course, this is an energy also that has a tendency of like pulling us out of the day to day and like making things a bit more like spiritual or mystical or metaphysical, or this word like otherworldly somehow. So I don't know, I just think that moving through Wednesday and Thursday this week, things might be like a bit off the beaten path. Things might be going how they don't normally go, and seeming how they don't normally seem, and you may find yourself actually having some very, very strong and accurate intuitive impulses or urges or hunches that come through. And we've got some things to talk about, you guys. So let's get into our energy forecast Wednesday and Thursday this week. Take a good look at how all of this is playing out and what it all might mean, and some of the best ways that we can move through it, and see if we can get an idea of how best to navigate our week heading into the weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We've got some things to talk about. As I was saying in my intro, this could be a strange week. Weird things happening, things not going as planned, people not acting as anticipated, maybe shocking you with their replies or reactions or responses to things, what is coming out of their mouth generally. The morning especially actually may be kind of crazy, maybe a little bit chaotic. You're going to want to probably pay some extra attention, be careful in traffic or in transit, any kind of like commute or anything like that. And people could be acting just in, kind of bizarre or reckless or impulsive ways. Okay. Things could generally feel off, maybe just like abnormal somehow. Again, this sense of like nervous tension or anxiety, or just like things maybe feeling, I don't know, just like not normal, just like a bit off, a bit not right somehow, scattered, undisciplined, an inability to focus. Could be something that we're kind of just like dealing with. This energy Wednesday is I think we can say mentally hyper stimulating. And it does really, actually, both Wednesday and Thursday make us like much more sensitive to like the subtle vibrations and frequencies going on out there for different reasons, Wednesday and Thursday, but in combination, this extreme Uranus energy, Mercury energy, Neptune energy, it is like it's sort of just like amplifying our ability to like pick up on the, more subtle frequencies and whatever vibrations and stuff around us than we might normally be under other circumstances. And as a result of that, I think I may have mentioned this in my intro, but if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. There is like a crazy intuitive ability that comes through with the energy this week as well. Like you may feel like your power of perception is like turned all the way up here, intuitive insights hitting in ways that are just much more profound and like honestly like direct and accurate and understandable than they normally are or than you normally experience. The mind is also likely to be working much faster. Synapses fire faster. Whenever we're dealing with some type of direct Mercury Uranus energy, as we are on Wednesday, because I guess I should say that's why this is the transit that is, making me say all of this stuff. We've got an exact Mercury, the mind, what we're talking about, what we're thinking about, the topics of conversation, stuff like that, the information that's we're presented with, opposite exactly Uranus, which is the lightning planet and the planet that brings sudden unexpected change, but also awakening, also known as the galactic fixer. It brings transparency. And it's like this lightning fast speed. And so when we've got the planet that rules like things happening like at that split second instant with the Mercury mental energy, that generally results in just like a state where the electric impulses in our brains feel like they're firing faster than normal. And as a result of that, like pattern recognition and our ability to like process information and like connect dots and stuff like that is kind of just like charged up, hypercharged, cranked up a couple notches. So you may just find yourself for whatever reason feeling like you are perceiving things at a like clearer and more connected, like more holistic, faster rate than perhaps you normally do. Especially things that have been like hidden or obscured in some way, like this particular combination, especially with Mercury in the sign of Scorpio and also with the black moon. The black moon rules like hidden power sources and the things that we're unaware of but are controlling us on some level. Also fears, worries, insecurities, doubts. With Mercury there, the mind, opposite Uranus, this is like an X-ray machine to me. This is like X-ray vision. And it's also happening in the sign of Scorpio, which is about like peering into the depths, getting to the core, getting to the root of things, figuring things out. So I do think that we kind of have some X-ray vision going on. And again, that really plays right into the whole like extreme intuitive faculty that may also be available in the energy of Wednesday. So yes, like these gut instincts and these flashes of insight or these epiphanies or these sudden realizations about things or like the dots that are connecting actually are likely to be quite accurate. So pay attention to, your gut, listen to your instincts, listen to your intuition in this energy. And even if like they're not perfect or they're not like the whole entire picture, they also can like double as some type of like key baseline or foundation from which corrections or edits can then be made. So even if this is some type of like idea or concept that comes to you and it's like not in its full form, there's a greater than average likelihood that it is like laying some foundation that will then be built upon in a way that like becomes something that is like useful or beneficial or like aligned or productive or like enlightening or just like the real deal somehow. There's often we're dealing with the Uranian energy as well. This is like something that is authentic, something that is true, like something that is honest. So again, like figuring things out, light bulb moments, seeing or perceiving things that we don't normally. And then, when we add to it as well, the fact that not only do we have this like hypercharged mental speed energy that's like really great at processing information like that in ways that, is not necessarily standard or typical, but we also have Neptune stationing direct on the same day, and Neptune rules like the unseen, right? Like this is the planet associated with sign of Pisces. This is like very otherworldly. This is the invisible realms, the ethereal realms, the spiritual world, the spiritual connection, also having to do with intuition, also having to do with being able to kind of like tap into this profound insight, maybe more so on an emotional level, but very highly connected to that which is unseen as well. So between like the X-ray vision on one hand being brought to us by the Mercury black moon in Scorpio opposite Uranus conjunction, and the Neptunian influence being amplified, because when a planet stations direct in its motion or retrograde in its motion, when a planet stations in the sky generally, it amplifies the energy of that planet. And, so our ability almost to like connect to the invisible realms, to the spiritual planes, is amplified in the energy of Wednesday, and so is our ability to like extract information at lightning speed and make connections and process it in ways that like provide like true, honest, authentic clarity and insight. So, when we've got sort of both edges of that sword going on, it just is likely to, equate to an experience that could be like quite profound or quite like transcendental or really eye-opening, or like some important spiritual awakening. And again, Uranus is the planet that is known as the Great Awakener, and Neptune is the planet that is like associated with the spiritual realms, and again, like the invisible worlds, invisible planes of reality, and the dream state. So awakening from some dream to some like higher knowing or more profound truth or something that is just maybe hitting us in an instant. A lot of people are probably going to be struck by an internalized experience like that as we move through the energy of Wednesday and Thursday. So revealing hidden things, secret feelings, motives, temptations as well. We also, interestingly, have Venus at 13 degrees of Sagittarius on Wednesday. That Sabian symbol is a widow's past is brought to light. That's the vibe. Like, things that have been, suppressed or repressed or just like not spoken of, or, kept in the background, held down, obscured, suddenly being the topic of conversation, because we're literally talking about like Mercury, the messenger planet. People are like, this is like people talking about conspiracies that normally would never consider conspiracies, or like people drawn to some like occult or metaphysical topic, even like astrology and stuff like that, suddenly being like top of mind and like grabbing people's interests in ways that it wouldn't normally. And then with the black moon there, this could also be like a focus on the things that are tempting us, or some type of obsession, or some type of drive or desire or passion that we are like, it like can't pull ourselves away from. Impatience, though, I will tell you, impatience could definitely be an issue. Also, just like a total lack of interest, like complete and utter disinterest with things that are just like the normal day-to-day mundane. Like, I think that people are going to just kind of be like inherently wanting to learn something new, wanting to talk about something new, like the concepts also of like novelty and innovation, even like science and technology and space and stuff like that, like aliens and stuff like that with the Uranian influence could for some reason be just like a greater topic of conversation. But, people are definitely, I think, going to be gravitating much more to like very deep and enlightening conversations, as opposed to like the more shallow, superficial, like small talk type of situation, type of vibe going on Wednesday. So you may find yourself engaged in some very deep or unusual or bizarre conversation with some random person that you like never would in other circumstances like find yourself having that with, but all of a sudden like in the moment here you are. Wouldn't be surprised about that as well. Now this is also because of that black moon influence being in the sign of Scorpio, bringing up maybe mysteries or crimes or corruption. Blackmail could be a big theme right in this energy, like bribery schemes and stuff like that, and like all types of more like sinister subjects, topics of conversation, topics of observation, taking a second look, seeing them through like a different lens of perception, additional evidence, also like breaks in the case. There could be breaks in things, discoveries, new information that like changes the way that we're looking at things somehow that comes through in this energy. This could also happen in some very like shocking or disturbing or unexpected ways. And because again, we're talking about the black moon and Mercury, the messenger planet, this is like our direct interactions with others. You may also encounter the darker side of someone that you didn't know they had. All of a sudden, you are coming face to face with somebody else's dark side that was like not a side that you were aware of until that moment, but there it is. Now, again, like awakenings, deeper and clearer insights that are coming through here. I do not recommend getting too involved. And I was actually talking about this for different reasons in my last video that I put out, but like this is just not the week. All week this week is just like a little bit off. Like they're Monday and Tuesday. I mean, and still Wednesday and Thursday, we still have Mars squaring Saturn. This was the energy I talked about in my last video that may have just been kind of like cranking up the heat and the tension and the pressure and making things a little bit like overbearing or just like overburdensome or like very stressful or something like that to get the week started. And I was saying, don't like set the bar too high for you to have to like meet some unnecessary expectation. Like don't give yourself extra things to do this week because it's just like kind of not the week for that. And I still stand by that as we move through Wednesday and Thursday for different reasons. First of all, this Mercury-Uranus opposition with Neptune also stationing, and then the very next day on Thursday, which we'll talk about as we get through the report, Mercury will move on from the opposition to Uranus and exactly trine Neptune, as Neptune is an amplified energy right now because Neptune has just stationed. Like the ability to discipline the mind this week and to focus and to get the job done and to get the task done without like literally driving ourselves crazy or making tons of mistakes and errors that we've got to go back and correct. Like it's just not a great like week to expect to get like real good, thorough, streamlined results, okay, in terms of like the effort that we're putting into things. Like I don't recommend getting too involved in tasks that require a great like level of care or of discipline or of attention to detail. Really, Wednesday again, like it's this it's Uranus, so it's like scattering energy. Like yes, our mind is moving very fast, we're processing information very fast, but you know it's processing a lot and it's likely to be sort of like bouncing back and forth all over the place. And the ability to like streamline and stay focused like on one specific task to the point of, you know, doing it again like correctly and efficiently, that's not really what this is supportive of. It's supportive of, it's a, you know, a scattered energy. It's excitable, it can be chaotic, it's like anxious mental energy, as I was saying earlier. And if you're trying too hard to force yourself to focus on something, this impatience is likely to come through as well. Sense of restlessness also, which can lead to rushing, lead to carelessness, lead to mistakes. So, you know, take that and use it accordingly. This can also be kind of like an accident prone energy as well if we're not paying attention, again, because of like all the distractions or being like caught up in such a state of solving some problem or figuring something out that we're like literally just not looking at or paying attention to where we're stepping or where we're walking or what's going on right in front of us. So in transit, while you're commuting, getting to where you need to get to, especially because this is Mercury, the planet that rules that type of thing, things that go back and forth, these short distance trips, being in traffic, right? Getting to where we need to get to, make sure that you are being extra observant, paying extra attention, because a lot of people won't be. The Uranian energy distracts us and, you know, makes us a bit mentally scattered, and the Neptunian energy like can totally detach us from reality and have us in like almost like a bit of a hypnotic state or like walking daydream. Okay, so want to be like extra alert in the energy, and also remember that Mars Saturn square is still there, which urges kind of like us to slow down and proceed with like an added measure of caution and care. So things to be mindful of if you have work to do that is important and is especially of like a written or a verbal or like communication oriented something, you're going to want to double check whatever that is after Thursday if you don't have to turn it in. Like if you don't have a deadline and you're like getting work done Wednesday and Thursday, go back and double check it, because like even if you are like able to develop some type of systematic approach to getting your stuff done, getting your work done, and stick to it in the energy of Wednesday, which is recommended. Again, like if you do need to get some, just of that type of work done, being as systematized and checking yourself as much as possible will be helpful. There still can be a tendency to like overlook the details and miss something or be distracted or make an error or something like that. So you're going to want to go back. You're going to want to double check it. Same thing goes for the energy of Thursday. I'll probably say that again as we get further through the report because I have it written down about the Neptune energy also. That can just, again, like have us kind of caught or lost in some type of daydream or ideal in a way that we're like just not paying super good attention to making sure like all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and the punctuation is in proper place and things like that. So we're double checking our work this week if we need to do it at all. I will be honest, like this is a good week, Wednesday and Thursday, to like do something different, not try to, in energy like this, like it is calling for a more like detached experience of reality, a less in the box use of the day. So if you have the ability to do something different than you normally do, to go in a different direction or to engage in different types of activities or to do things a different way, and you're feeling the pull or the compulsion to do that, like don't resist it. It's not a waste of time. For whatever reason, this energy is actually made for stuff like that. So find ways to give yourself the opportunity to go with the flow of the cosmic forces Wednesday and Thursday, instead maybe of trying to just like hold on to the status quo and then, dealing with the frustrations and the irritation and whatever might be coming as a result of trying to put a square peg into a round hole on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, in terms of communication styles, Wednesday people are likely to be very blunt. Again, this is kind of just like, this is how I feel and I'm saying it, like a very authentic energy. You may be shocked or disturbed by what you find out about somebody, by what is coming out of someone's mouth. There also, of course, could be this like almost magical quality to the days though, transcendental quality to things going on. Things could feel like some type of highly spiritual experience that is mind-blowing in some way. Again, Uranus is the lightning planet, Mercury's the mind. Like there could just be something that has us lit up, that is like electrifying the mind, that is, turning all the lights on for some reason and like really hyper stimulating us. And there is also likely to be this like spiritual awakening aspect to it as well because of the simultaneous Neptune station. So something just different about the day, whether it is what we're doing or how we're feeling or, what or how we are thinking or perceiving information or what we're experiencing, not your average day. There could also be, again, like major breaks or big ideas or concepts or like inventions and stuff like that are maybe like announced or like discoveries that are made in energy such as this. And you could feel like on one hand very hypercharged, on the other hand very spaced out. That would be another way to put it as we move through the week. Now, in terms of the moon's placement, as we move through the day on Wednesday, we start the day with the moon in Leo, I believe. This may be like early in the morning, but there's going to be a square that takes place between the moon in Leo and Mercury and the black moon in Scorpio and Uranus in Taurus. And that's a fixed sign T square, which is going to kind of like kick up and amplify that particular energetic dynamic. But so the morning, okay, may be the most like buzzing from like all of the energy that is like being lit up with this, but as we do move through the day, the moon will enter Virgo. That should actually ground things out a bit, but Virgo is ruled by Mercury, you guys. And of course, Mercury is, the one that is making this happen on Wednesday. And this could be, again, like bringing up the information or the facts or the details or the context or what we're learning or what we're finding out or what we're figuring out. And this is also maybe enhancing the change-oriented nature. Virgo's a mutable sign, transition. It's like almost suggesting, as the moon moves into the sign of Virgo, that changes are now primed to be physically occurring as a result of whatever is being lit up or illuminated or brought to our attention, perhaps as a result of the Mercury transit that's going on Wednesday. So that's kind of how I feel about Wednesday, you guys. Something is being plugged in, and you may just be feeling like you're kind of like hovering a couple inches above the ground. Again, this is a very fast-paced energy. Make sure you're paying attention to stuff and try to slow it down and stay grounded if you can. Now, on Thursday, the moon is still transiting through the sign of Virgo. The moon comes into a conjunction with the south node, and we've got Mercury exactly trining Neptune, as Neptune has just stationed direct. This is another very spiritual, very change-oriented day. We could find ourselves at a point as a result maybe of some type of spiritual awakening or epiphany or shift in perspective or something like that, that we have come to deciding that we're going to change various elements of our lives with the moon and the south node together in the sign of Virgo. This is a point each month where there is a like cosmic support essentially to release some like old patterns or habits or routines or behaviors or lifestyles or systems or programs or like management styles or like input forms, like ways of doing things that get certain outcomes. So happening the day after Mercury hits that opposition to Uranus with the black moon, like you may find out or figure out something this week that moving into the energy of Thursday has you feeling like you're ready to let go of something, ready to make some type of like change, especially in the context of maybe some perpetuating pattern or habit or routine or schedule or something along those lines. Now, Mercury trining Neptune, this is the primary vibe on Thursday, and of course it is extra potent because Neptune just stationed. That is an amplified Neptunian energy, and the moon is in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, so that is like amplifying the Mercury energy, and both of these planets are in the exact connection on Thursday. This does stimulate the creative imagination and makes us, as I was saying in the beginning of the report, like much more sensitive than normal to the world around us, and specifically the elements of the world around us that we might not normally or typically perceive or, even have an awareness of. And this is the energy that can make us feel maybe caught in some type of daydream, some type of fantasy, some type of like idealistic viewpoint or perspective or worldview of something somehow. Music, art, romance could be extra appealing in the energy of Thursday, and this is a good day. If you're feeling compelled, if you have the opportunity to kind of like shut out the craziness of the world and get lost in something that just feels a little bit better or more ideal or more romanticized or something like that. This is a energy where a lot of people are likely to be kind of romanticizing various conversations or situations or ideas or even like concepts perhaps. So days like this, they are meant for mentally disconnecting. Neptune also has to do with what is eroding, what is being washed away, what is dissipating. and Mercury is the mind. It can be a very mentally detached energy. So if you're feeling tuned out, if you're feeling, drawn in or pulled into something that is just like not the like cold, hard truths and facts of reality, it's the day for it. If there's going to be a day, this is the day. And so don't think it's just a total waste of time. There actually could be something like beneficial in being in more like meditative states or connecting to your spiritual nature on some higher level and some greater capacity in the energy of Thursday. Conversations with people are also probably not going to be revolving around practical matters or facts or logic on Thursday. It's funny because like on Wednesday with the Mercury Uranus opposition with the black moon there in Scorpio, there is like this mental intrigue in what we're exposing, getting to the core, getting to the root, seeing like under the surface or behind the curtain, or like figuring out the gears in the machine or like the mysteries, right? But then on Thursday with the Neptunian influence with Mercury, it's all about, people wanting to talk about their fantasies or their dreams or their ideals, or like just getting away from it all and detaching from reality and like spending time by the seaside or something like that. So if that is what's going on, it is probably just a result of the way that this energy mentally orients us. The reality, the like true state of things is just probably not going to hold as much appeal as it generally does. There's a lack of mental discipline that is also required to be very efficient or very effective at accomplishing tasks, getting done what we need to get done. So again, I would say don't necessarily push yourself to do the most and cross everything off your list. You're probably going to, if you do that, you're probably going to end up realizing that you got to go back and do it again because you made a mistake or you did something wrong or you forgot something. And you could just feel tired as well. Like this can be like a mentally draining energy, and you might just need to take an extra nap, sleep a little bit later. It may be very hard to wake up, and like you could have some like brain fog and stuff like that going on in the energy of Thursday. But it is going to be great for any type of like fiction or fantasy writing or like music composition. Any type of art or creative inspiration is likely to be turned all the way up. And with the Uranian influences there as well, like true divine inspiration of a creative or artistic nature could be flooding through for sure in the energy of Thursday. It can also make us very, very sensitive with Mercury trine Neptune to like other people's needs. It brings a sense of compassion and the desire to aid those who are in need, those who need help. It's kind of like a service-oriented energy. And the advice that you give with the Mercury energy, what we're talking about, what we're thinking about, even if it's not perfect, it's most likely, most people are truly going to be motivated by like a sincere desire to help and not out of some, obscured or covert self-interest or personal benefit. Like this really can be quite an altruistic, just like wanting to be of service, wanting to help, wanting to give guidance and advice that is, for the best type of energy. So there's that element of it as well. And then of course the mystical or the spiritual subjects, more likely to fascinate the mind, great for studying art, literature, poetry, music, spiritual, metaphysical, occult subjects. This energy gives us the ability to transcend the normal limits of our rational intellect. And as a result of that, we have a better ability to understand, often like directly through the intuitive component, again, ideas that might otherwise seem like senseless or beyond comprehension for some reason. So same as Wednesday, but for a different reason. Again, like on Wednesday, we have like this hypercharged synapse mental energy that is just firing and helping us to process that information much faster. But on third, and to also not only process information faster, but to like pick up on the more subtle frequencies and ideas and impulses that we normally tune out for some reason. But then on Thursday, it's like we can like breach the boundaries of like the the normally rational, so we can like see beyond and tune in more deeply into our intuition. And again, like pick up on like the more subtle nature of like things that are happening because we're like more sensitively tuned in. So like both days just give us this heightened ability to make sense of what is usually unmaking sensible or like imperceivable or like just like not practical or not rational. But again, keep in mind that, as I've said, there is a lack of mental discipline that comes along with this, and you are going to want to double check your work as this passes because it is still this like bit error prone, accident prone, mistake prone energy. So, as you can see, you guys, when we combine the energy of these 2 days, it could just be a bit of a different experience of life Wednesday and Thursday this week. And the whole week might be an unusual week. As I said in my last video, like we open the week in some pretty extreme stress, at least in terms of like these planetary placements and the energy that they may be manifesting in our world around us. And then we move into like this lightning bolt day on Wednesday. And then we move into this like spiritual dream world day on Thursday, and yeah, things are just like there could be some breakthroughs that come through here. Things could really make sense. Things could be pulling us to like, again, like want to detach or want to escape from something as well. There is an emphasis on disturbances provoking change, though, and these hidden things being noticed, released, revealed, coming to light. As I said earlier, Venus is at 13 Sag. That Sabian symbol is a widow's past is brought to light, like 100% in alignment with these vibes. We have the Sun at 17 Sag on Monday, or 19 Sag, sorry. That Sabian symbol is pelicans menaced by the behavior and refuse of men. Seek safer areas for bringing up their young. So, maybe some disturbance that comes up that causes us to want to change something for some reason, or, shift or alter the status quo or what's normal or our environment somehow. We have the Mercury Black Moon alignment happening at 29 degrees of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is an Indian woman pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. Again, some of this more like darker symbolism that may have us wanting to break free or break out of something, standing up for ourselves somehow, trying to take back some measure of personal power as a result maybe of some of this insight or awareness that we're gaining in this energy. The North Node right now is at 14 Pisces. That Sabian symbol is a woman wrapped in fox fur. We have Chiron right now at 23 Aries. That Sabian symbol is a woman in pastel colors carrying a valuable but veiled load. So like all of these symbols, and even the widow's past brought to light, like it's like this feminine energy that is like obscuring something or hiding something or holding something back somehow, in a way that is being noticed or recognized. So that could be an element of the way that things are going and flowing and playing out there. We also have the Earth at 19 degrees of Gemini on Monday, and that Sabian symbol is a large archaic volume, reveals a traditional wisdom. Learning something, discovering something, finding something out that is meaningful or valuable or brings things into, some greater context or perspective somehow. Mars on Wednesday also happens to be at the galactic center. The galactic center is located at 26 degrees of the sign of Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol for that degree is the sculptor's vision is taking form. And Mars, this is obviously what's being activated. This is what is being acted upon. This is action. This is initiation. So there are actively things coming together here, actively taking form. Again, there could be this like divine intervention, like hand of God type of energy that seems to be kind of like permeating a lot of what is going on at this point in time. But significant change, awakenings happening and things being at a very potent transition point. And as I've been saying, I said this about the full moon in Gemini that's coming up. The Scorpio season this year was indicating the same. Like, I think that for a lot of people, a lot is about to change. People are going through some very life-changing ordeals and circumstances, and this is an energetic crossroads right now. And I do think, and I've been saying this, that between like now and next spring, you may be looking back on yourself today and be like, wow, I am living an entirely different life. So big things happening, you guys. Weird week, weird vibes. Cut yourself some slack this week if you can. Give yourself a break if you can. Don't set your personal like bar or expectations too high for yourself. Maybe allow yourself to be outside the box a little bit, to get off the beaten path, to be a little bit weird or original or unusual. It just seems to be what's in the energy field this week. So that's what I have to say about our astrology and what we've got going on as we do move through the midpoint of our week. Now, in terms of our tarot card reading today, it's funny because we kind of have like the same thing going on. We have the Four of Wands in reverse, the Page of Pentacles with the Eight of Wands on the back. The Four of Wands in reverse, this in this context to me is sort of like a destabilizing force. Like, what is solid, like what is steady, what is consistent, how things always are, what keeps things balanced, like what keeps things like rooted to the ground and stuff like that, may be just not to the same extent in the energy of Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Like, there could be some disruptions to the consistency or to the stability or to the status quo of things. And then and it could be happening very quickly. On the back of the deck, we had the Eight of Wands, which is about like things flying through the air, you know what I mean? Like things coming fast, things coming quickly, like a process that is underway, like that is happening, and that is like not something that can be like stopped at this point in time. And then we've also got the Page of Pentacles here, which is about like something new, like wanting to build something new, thinking about the possibilities, the endless possibilities of what could become, of what we could grow. There's definitely like an inherent level, I feel like, of like optimism and innovation and like hope and kind of like daydreaming about all of the varying opportunities and potentials that could be associated with, whatever this thing is that we want to embark upon. And yeah, like it could be changing the state of things, and maybe it's just for the day, and maybe it's like a new beginning or a new energy that's coming in right now that is going to continue to kind of like snowball and grow, and that is going to lead to some type of lasting change. Or maybe it's just this, momentary break that allows us to step outside the box, step outside the Four of Wands, the four walls, and try something new, think about things a new way, experience, maybe look at like a different level of potential, or, conceive something maybe differently or in a different way than we traditionally do, or that is like standard or normal for us. So I don't know, it looks like some disruption maybe that happens out of nowhere or spontaneously as a result of the vision or the impulse to experience or to discover like something that is fresh, something that is new, or something that like holds a level of potential that we're kind of like idealizing for one reason or another. So that could be a vibe. Wouldn't be surprised, because that really is a lot of what this astrology is describing as well. Now, I'm going to get us a piece of advice, you guys. I'm going to ask for a synchronicity card from God, Great Spirit, Universe. What do we need to know? What will it benefit us to keep in mind, or to remind ourselves of, or to tell ourselves as we move through this energy? And it's so funny because I've literally said that staying focused is probably going to be the challenge in the energy of both Wednesday and Thursday. And our card that came out, like what we need to be aware of, what maybe we need to keep in mind, it says literally focus. Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Focus your thoughts on God and that part of you that is God. Mercury trining Neptune, like that the yes, okay. Tune in on God and his serenity over your life. When you can still your mind and think of God and be at peace in your mind, everything around you will fall into a peaceful routine in your home life, in your business, and in all aspects of your life. Stay in this state of mind and you will prosper beyond your wildest dreams. So again, tuning in or honing that spiritual connection. If there's a draw for you, if you feel like you need to kind of like disconnect maybe from the mundane world as we move through the midpoint of this week and focus your mind and your thoughts on God or the more spiritual elements of yourself or your connection or your reality. That's also our cosmic guidance and advice for our midweek update today, you guys. And that's what I have to say. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content, benefit from this type of astrology content. I would love to have them here. Let me know also how this energy is affecting you. If you guys are having experiences that line up with or reflect what I'm talking about in this video, drop me a comment, tell me all about it. I would love to hear about it. That's very valuable information to me. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group linked in my description box below where I post images of those boards most of the time. So if you want to see that, check that group. It'll probably be over there. And other than that, you guys come back with me on Friday. We got more energy that we need to get into. We've got vibe shifts going on. Mercury's about to re-enter the sign of Sagittarius. The mind, again, like the way that we're thinking about things is likely to shift again over this next upcoming couple days, and we've got some more to talk about. So I will be back to do just that. You don't want to miss it. I will see you then, you guys. Have a beautiful midpoint to your week, and until next time, bye.